Hey guys, good afternoon. I'm Tim Richardson. Thanks for taking time to join us for this 5 big buying mistakes that you can avoid. Can't wait to get everybody up to speed on this. Thanks for taking time to learn. That's awesome. I know I'm actually curious how many of this will be your first time, but before we do that, let's figure out the chat area. I want you to just give us a shout out, like what city you're watching from today. It'll be fun to do some call outs here while we wait for everybody to get in here. And look forward to seeing where everybody's coming in from. So some of you, I guess it's still morning, it's afternoon here. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I actually have snow on the ground, about that much snow. It's really sad for end of April, but I can't wait to get camping. I was so excited, and then boom, got hit again. So find the chat area. We're gonna record the session today, so no worries. You don't have to take feverish notes. You can always go back. You'll get a link in your email about 3 hours after we finish up with the webinar replay link. So, all right, we have Greta right in Powell, Ohio. That's nice and close in the Columbus area. Nice. We have Elizabeth in California. Good morning out there. Ocean Isle Beach. Robin. Nice. Jenny Mae in Texas. We have Sunset Beach, North Carolina. Tammy. Wow, that sounds really nice. Cindy in Youngstown, Ohio. She knows how I feel with the snow. And Gary and Perry. Oh, yeah, same Gary. Michelle in California. Rick in Dallas, North Carolina, not Texas. So still pretty nice, I bet. Mark in California. Shelly out in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Jody in Sacramento. Lots of California. This is cool. Lauren in Gaberville. Tom in Hartford. Greetings. Hello, Carrie in Oregon. Just had someone I met just a few days ago that came all the way out from there, and they had a rockwood that they just bought a new rockwood, and I got to see them, and they traveled all the way across the country to get their new one because they just sold their old one that was 5 years old for more than they paid for it 5 years ago. So that's kind of cool. Dennis in Cincinnati. Well, awesome. Let's dive in. We got a lot to cover, and when you guys start putting questions in here, we'll try to answer as best we can. I'm hoping to bring in an expert that we can pick his brain too. His name's Josh, so hopefully he'll be able to join us too. But man, so as we're getting ready to get going here, oh yeah. So a little bit about me. This is my first RV. My dad built this thing. I kid you not. I was 3 or 4 at the time. We went camping up in British Columbia where we lived. To Boot Lake, and it was the only one way to this little lake out in the middle of nowhere. And wouldn't you know, this huge tree right here in this picture fell in front of our road there before we got there, thankfully. But we had to wait for the forestry service to come cut it up. All I remember that night is that we had built this lean-to. We're all sleeping outside, and I wake up in the middle of the night. I was like, Mom, I want to sleep in the RV. I think I called it the truck at the time, but so she and I, we slept in the truck. Next morning, my brothers are walking around the campsite, and they found these huge black bear prints. So I like to say, like, RVs saved my life. So I have a special place in my heart for RVs ever since that time, and love taking my family out and camping. We've gone camping a lot this summer in a Class C and a toy hauler and all kinds of fun little campers. So in October, we were just out before winter hit. So can't wait to get back out. So very cool. Lauren, 73 degrees. That's nice. Richard asks, where's Mitch? He's so busy selling RVs and helping folks. Mitch won't be here, but we're going to get you guys a lot of information. First thing that mistake a lot of people make, though, is not asking for the out-the-door price. And it's really important now, especially as we look at how the landscape has changed over the last year with COVID and the demand. And we're going to talk a little bit about used and stuff too. But man, the prices are going up. One, because of the fact of the demand, that it's just exploded. And the factories, are having to raise prices a number of times just because of the fact that parts are hard to get. China's raising prices on stuff that they have to bring in, and a number of things. So why is it important to ask for the out-the-door price? So when you're going in, this is kind of the process, and we're going to dive into some of the fees and all the different things here in just a second. But asking for the out-the-door price helps you lock in that number. And so you come into a dealership, you give them your deposit after you've picked out your perfect RV. Sometimes it's on the lot. Sometimes they have to custom order it from the factory to get exactly what you want, and the layout and the colors and everything that you want. And so they take a deposit. If you're at a show, it may be a small amount of deposit, $1,000. If it's a big motorhome, it may be upwards of $10,000. But whatever that number is, they tell you, here's what you're getting, here's the accessories, you're going to get this, 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 this. What they don't tell a lot of times is when you come back to pick up your RV, after it's been inspected and cleaned and it's all ready for you, whether that's a week or 3 months, whatever, 4 months, whatever, the time frame is, you come in, picture this, you come in with your family, you're excited, you get to pick up your RV finally, and the kids are running around looking at it. They're picking out the bunk beds and they're so excited and they can't wait. You've got a camping trip. You're going to leave from the dealership and you're going to head on a camping trip or head home, pack up and head to a camping trip. And all of a sudden you sit down, sign the final paperwork, and you're looking at the paperwork and you see, well, what is this extra fee? And what the bottom line isn't what you expected. You knew the camper price, but you didn't know exactly how much your sales tax was going to be, or exactly how much they were going to charge for the final inspection or the walkthrough, or some of these things that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But you want to know that out-the-door price. So you should demand, and make sure you do, because a lot of people we talk to, and I know talking to a lot of sales guys here, they're telling me man, this person came to us and the last deposit they put down, they didn't have anything in writing. And so they were taken advantage of. And so that's why, if you get nothing else out of this, this will be one thing that'll save you a lot of headaches. Make sure you ask for this in writing. And another thing too, is I would actually add to it. It's if this changes by $1, I have the right to get my deposit back, because they're basically breaking your contract, and that's a contract. So you're giving them money. So ask for that in writing. And it's so important that you're comparing apples to apples. So if you're shopping different dealerships, and one dealership says this RV is $50,000, for example, and the other one says ours is only $46,500. But then as you get to the end of that and you look at the final paperwork and the hidden fees and all those kind of things, and you add the taxes and the dock and title fees and all these things, now that could be more than the $50,000 out the door that the other dealer had. So that's how you compare apples to apples when you're shopping dealerships, is you make sure that you have that out the door price. So let's dive into the hidden fees, though, because this is where they get you, and I want to make sure you're really up to speed on how that works. So I'm going to put up a little file. I want you to go in the chat. So this is going to be a collection of hidden fees. It's a one-page PDF. It's a little free download. Just find that in the chat, and you can download this file, so you don't have to write all this stuff down. But we're going to cover through these here in just a second. So go ahead and take a look at that. And then I'm curious, too, how many of you, this will be your first time purchasing an RV. So I'm going to put up a poll, answer that, then we kind of see where you guys are at in the process, because I'm so proud of you, like I said before, figuring this out now instead of after the fact or after you get burned. So let's dive into that. So poll is going, and I'll get you the results of that in just a second. So number one hidden fee that we're seeing pop up a lot is this Pdi Pre-Delivery Inspection. Oh gosh, this is one of those fees. Typically, we're seeing people complain about $1,200 is popping up in this area to $2,000. And what is pre-delivery inspection and why is it important? Well, number one, you're going to want this done because this is the final inspection that the dealership does, going through everything on your RV. They turn on the furnace, they make sure it fires up, burns off all the oil, all that stuff. They run water into it. They test for plumbing leaks. They test for, it's about 110 steps. So pretty much they test everything. In fact, I've even been walking around an RV, think it's raining. I look up at the top of the RV, there's a guy up there with a hose and he's spraying off the whole, like the air conditioners. He's putting water on top of the air conditioners, the vents, everything, just to make sure that water is not leaking through a seal into the RV, which would damage it down the road. So those, I mean, it's an extensive, a very extensive inspection. So definitely want a PDI. It's called Pre-Delivery Inspection. So write that down. You want that, but should you have to pay for it? That's the big question. I personally think that it's the dealer's responsibility and it's not your responsibility to pay for that. Like that, you never get charged that for cars, right? I mean, you go to any car dealership, you're not going to get charged for them to do an inspection to make sure it's a brand new car. It's brand new. You expect it to work, everything to be right. And that's what drives me nuts. Like, how can any dealership justify charging you? And to make it worse, so I've been to the factories a lot. In fact, just last week I was there, went to the RV Museum, the Hall of Fame Museum of RV History, which is really cool. But went through a lot of different factories here in the last couple months, pretty much 5 or 6 factories. But they have this process. So they build your RV. Most of them are built in Elkhart, Indiana, by the way. And so you have all these RVs, being built there. Lots of inspections through the process. Then they have a final check. They go over everything on the RV. They think everything is perfect. Then they send it to the dealership. So there's this last little over-the-road process to get it to you. They can't ship them on semis, like 10 at a time or anything. So it gets hauled to you just like it would in a normal situation. So it's almost like a road test, I call it. And so that's the last little check. Like if they forgot a screw and a piece of molding, it's going to fall down as it bounces across the road, whatever. So it comes to the dealership. The dealership at that point should be doing this PDI. But if they find anything in the PDI, they are getting paid by the factory and they're getting warranty dollars from the factory and they're paying basically a full rate. So it's not like, oh, they're working for half price or anything. I mean, they get all the money that they would from doing service work. So the service department would go through the RV, check it out, and submit warranty claims for anything that wasn't working. They'd fix it at that point, the dealership. So it's not like the dealership's out any money. They're getting paid by the factory to inspect these and fix anything. So it's a win-win. But then if you give them more money on top of it, it's just it's basically just an extra source of income for dealerships. So that's why I don't think that PDI should be charged by a dealership, even though many, many dealerships do charge that. But so that's one of the hidden fees. Here's the results. 68% of you said, no, this will not be your first time purchasing. 32%, this is your first time. So yeah, for you guys that are seasoned as far as RVs go, we're going to talk a little bit about trade-ins and all that kind of stuff to help you guys out too. So very cool. Thanks for answering that question. And let me take a look for a couple more questions. Rick asks, that should not be an extra fee. Crap. Should work and is part of the dealership. Exactly. I agree, Rick. And thanks. Let's dive into another fee as we work through that. Number 2, transportation fees. Okay, so like I said, probably 95% of the RVs are coming from Elkhart, Indiana. I mean, it's pretty much the Mecca, the capital of the RV world and manufactured homes and all that kind of stuff. So a lot's happening there. In fact, it's kind of crazy, but about 70% of every RV, so no matter what brand, most of the RV parts like the the frames and the, like appliances, all that kind of stuff comes from one supplier called Lippert. And then it goes to all these different manufacturers that assemble. They're basically assemblers and manufacturers that take all these parts that come in and put them together to create a custom vehicle for you. And that's pretty much all happening right there in Elkhart. But the nice thing to know is you can calculate what the transportation fees should be. So think about it. It has to get to California. A lot of our friends are out in California. So that's a long trip from Elkhart, Indiana, but you can calculate how many miles that is. It's 3,200 miles or whatever the number is. Just made that up. And when you do that calculation, you know that that dealership had to pay a transport service to get it there. Like I said, they're paying a guy to drive a truck, hook up a trailer, and drive one all the way out to California. There's really no other way around it. Maybe two if they're small, but it's pretty much a one-off. So it's expensive. So your California prices either will be $3,000 more for that RV when you're comparing it to someone that's selling the same RV in Ohio, like RV Wholesalers. But just know that that's a transportation fee. So when you do your math and you see a $5,000 fee, and you look at, well, it's only 3,000 miles and $1.50, $2 maybe, so $5,000 to $6,000. Yeah, but if you start seeing $3, we're seeing $3 a mile for some of these fees. So when you start seeing like these crazy mileage fees, now that you know where to calculate from, you can kind of figure it out. So for example, the guys in RV Wholesalers, theirs is $360 because it only cost them $360 to get it from the factory to them. It might even be less than that, but I don't think it's any more than that. But it's because they're only a couple hours away from the factories. So now they should be several $1,000s less than the dealership in California when you're talking about transportation fees. However, you're going to want to make sure, this is a little tip, make sure that they have that split out though, like, the cost of the RV and, the transportation fee to get it shipped to that dealership, because you shouldn't have to pay sales tax on that. So if you are in California and it is a $4,000 fee or whatever, you should not have to pay sales tax on that $4,000. So make sure they separate it out. That'll be another tip of how to save some money when you buy a new RV. So write that one down. Any other questions on transportation fees? I want to dive into some of these other ones too, but the environmental fee is number 3 I have on the list there. That's a weird one. This is some people are getting really creative on fees. We saw one this week. The sales guys were telling me about a Route 66 fee. It's like, where do they come up with these names? And they just have these little fees that pop up. And it's, like I said, it's always at the very end of the closing. It's like, oh, and what are you going to do at that point? When you find out about a fee and you're already there, like I said, with the family and everything, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to walk out. You're going to lose your deposit. If you didn't get it in writing, you're going to wait another months or whatever, or you're going to have to start the whole process over. So it's kind of, and they have other people on the list. Like, there's such a demand. They don't care if you walk out because they have other people that are willing to pay the extra fees and willing to pay all those extra things that you weren't counting on the list. So there is a list a lot of times. So it's like, okay, no worries. And then they sell it to somebody else. But 176. Yeah, Richard says the price. I'll see if I can get one of the guys from RV Wholesalers to tell us what the price is, what they get charged from. And it changes. This number changes based on the day too, because it's all about availability of transport services. So they have to hire these guys with trucks, and with the demand so high, it's, a little game they have to play. And dealerships definitely get a good, they try to get the best deal that they can on transportation. So environmental fees, that one is interesting. Environmental fees, we saw that one pop up in Texas and in Florida, where it's almost, they treated the RV almost like a boat, like it's going into a body of water, so it has to be cleaned a certain way with a special cleaner system or whatever, so that it's not so it's environmentally friendly when it enters that body of water. So it makes sense for boats, but sometimes they're using that same logic and trickery in the RV industry. We've seen it pop up. That one, and then the fourth one, the tire replacement. We're seeing that more often. That one in Florida for sure. California, you'll see this. So they're saying we're bringing an RV from the manufacturer. We're bringing it all the way to Florida, all the way to California. You're going to want new tires when you get that. That's what they're saying. So we went ahead and replaced the tires. There's a fee for replacing them, the new tire, plus getting rid of the old tires disposal. So they create a number to put new tires on it. And it's like the tires are rated for like 40 or 50,000 miles at least. And it's like, why does my brand new RV need brand new tires when it comes across the road for only one long trip? So that's another tricky area. Watch out for that. And number 5 is it's called dock and title. That one you definitely will have to pay. I think every state, the number is different. I don't know how it changes state to state. It shouldn't be, a crazy number, but there's a number to do the paperwork that the state charges to file the title paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So there should be a number in there. Just make sure it's reasonable and makes sense, because sometimes those numbers are padded a little bit too. So these are all little ways that people don't really say much about when this number's $600 for dock and title when it should be $400. Well, the dealer just made an extra $200 there. The tire replacement, not necessary, but they just made an extra $1,500 there. These are all they all add up, and if nobody says anything, they can get away with it. I never forget the time I called. I was actually exhibiting at a boat show and an RV show all in one in Chicago. And I went over to the boat RV side, and I was like, David, who's one of the founders of RV Wholesalers, I said, David, why aren't you here exhibiting? And he's like, oh, I'll explain later. And I couldn't believe there's all these people there, hundreds of thousands of people back in the day. And he explained later, he's like, Tim, RV shows, people think, oh, that's the best place to go get the best deal on an RV. He said, think about it. As an exhibitor, though, it's not the best place. It's hard for me to give people the best deals there, because as an exhibitor, I just had to pay. I had to pay for, think of a booth space. Just a 10x10 is usually $2,500 at exhibit hall. Multiply that times 3 just to get enough space for one RV. And then they need to bring at least 10 RVs to even put a dent in the show. So they bring 10 RVs. Now you've got to transport them all the way to the shows, a couple hours. Then you've got a hotel, the staff. You have to bring the staff, and and then of course you're going to bring your best salespeople. And then you have to give them food, and then you have to pay for. He just kept naming stuff. I mean, it was like you have to pay for people to drive them in because it's a union, and you can't bring them in yourself, and you have to. And all these numbers end up being $150,000 to $200,000 for him to do one show. And he's like, Tim, how in the world am I going to make any money with a show if I have to pay these kind of expenses? How can I pass those savings on to my customers, potential customers? And so he was kind of just very sad that that shows have kind of turned to that. And then he went on to tell me his horror story, which is and they even had a meeting where we all got together, the first shows that they went to, before they realized, man, this is not worth. We're not able to get any good deals for our customers this way. And he went on to share how they had these meetings where all the dealers got together and said, hey, what are we going to do for our, they didn't say the word hidden fees, but what are we going to do for our fees to make up for the cost of this convention center and all these things that we're paying? Let's get this back. And we're all kind of synced up on fees. So yeah, so it's crazy. But hey, we have a guest here coming to answer some of our tough questions. Josh, thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I was on the phone with a customer here, getting him all squared away. So I apologize for being late, but I'm here now. So better late than never, right?
No, it's great to have an expert. I've just been going through just went through all the fees, but I bet you've got some like real life stories like right from the front line. So Josh has been an RV specialist for years. In fact, I like to say his whole life because the kid is no longer a kid, but he grew up with his parents and his uncle, his family, started RV Wholesalers. And then he grew up, pretty much living at a house that oversaw a campground. So like he's been camping his whole life, maybe not necessarily in his RV. And you have your own RV too, right?
Yes, sir.
So this guy loves RVs, can answer any question. He's seen it all, seen a thing or two, as they say on farmers insurance or whatever. But but yeah, so I bet you got some good stories. We just walked real fast through all the different fees, just wrap that up. But tell us something maybe you heard this week or two, like a real life story of someone that called you after experiencing some of these things that we just talked about.
Yeah, Tim, I got a new one for you. And this guy, he what a jerk. I'll put it that way. I don't say this often. I really don't. But this guy, he calls me yesterday, and then right now, so here's what's going on with the industry, guys. There's a lot of deceit. There's a lot of tactics. There's a lot of things to worry about, more now than ever, right? A couple of these things, as Tim has gone over through with you, is hidden fees, right? So this gentleman, like right now, Rockwood, for example, all right? We are one of the largest and most reputable dealerships for the product Rockwood, all right? It's under the Forest River umbrella, and awesome product. Sells itself. I'm not here to talk about that, but long story short, pricing is all over the map, right? If you go to RV Trader right now, you can see the same trailer we're selling for $20,000 all the way up to $40,000, right? Jeez. And a lot of these people that are advertising an even lower price, there's two things. They're either going to hit you with all these hidden fees, or they do not have the correct pricing as it is. Rockwood, every manufacturer, not just Rockwood, every single person right now is so far behind. I haven't even had a brochure in 12 months. Honestly, it wouldn't make sense to make brochures or to put the time into that, because things could change tomorrow, right? I mean, everything it's just so up in the air. It's craziest we've ever seen it. But what dealers are doing right now is they're selling you the price based off of the 21s, but since it's going to take 3 or 4 months to build, there's going to be price increases in there, right? Forest River just came out and did a 6% price increase across the board just 2 weeks ago. Okay, on every single product. That's not only for the shortages and the materials that are rising quicker than we know it, but it's also because now every trailer we sell will be a 2022. Now, whether or not it says that on the site or some don't, again, some people are selling these campers. They're telling you, oh, you're going to get a 2022. It's going to come in as that, but here's your price. They're still selling off the 21 pricing. So I'm on all the forums, all the groups, and the Rockwood GeoPro group, for example. I'm seeing customers, not mine, I'm seeing other customers right now freaking out because their dealerships are calling them and telling them, hey, by the way, your camper's in, good news. The bad news is, though, Forest River came through and they hit us with a 6 or 7% price increase, so you owe us more money. And this guy in particular, I'm thinking like, okay, you're not going to pay that, right? You have a contract in writing, right? Or at least I hope you do. And I'm just looking through all these comments, and people are like, yeah, it's no big deal. Our dealer called us last week, said the same thing. It's normal. Everything's happening. It's crazy right now. If you want it, you got to pay a little bit more. And he's freaking out. He's like, how much more? 7% on $20,000. What's that going to look like? Well, they were charging him. And he actually had in a comment, he says, whew, they're only charging me $780 more. Thank God. Wait a minute. What?
He was okay with that.
That's not what you agreed to, though. That's not what you have in writing. What are you talking about? How are you not price protected? I can't believe my ears and my eyes, Tim. It is so crazy. But so that's what's happening. The price that you are quote unquote locked into in most dealerships is changing and is subject to change. So this is prepping my new story of what happened yesterday. So this guy who was a very unpleasant man to work with, or so he seemed. He was dealing with my associate. He's 2 weeks new into this industry. I'm training him. I'm doing the best I can with him. He doesn't know how to overcome some of these objectives. So he says, well, this guy in Wisconsin, he's $2,900 cheaper than you on a Rockwood product. As soon as Nick told me that, I laughed. I'm like, no one's beating our price that much on a Rockwood. no one in the country is beating us that bad. It's impossible. It truly is. We know our pricing, and we do more business with Rockwood in particular than most, so we get the best pricing. Believe, I'm not just saying this for my health. It's something that we've done. It's in stone. If I could, I'd show you all of the numbers, but long story short, this guy was trying to get me to compete with this price. And I got on the phone and I said, well, sir, why would I compete with a price that doesn't exist? Oh, what do you mean? Well, sir, this is it doesn't exist. What they're telling you, this is a 21 pricing. You're ordering a 22 from them. Don't you think there's something fishy with that? He says, don't even start. I'm not here to listen about all the nonsense that you sales guys tell me. I've been in the industry for 25 years. I know way more than you do. I've done way more than you have. I'm just like, okay, I'm listening. And he sent me the deal. That's the strike one. If you have a price that's $2,900 cheaper than me, why are you giving me the opportunity to beat it? Seriously, why would you do that, right? You already have a much better price. You don't believe it yourself. That's what you're trying to see, who can beat you. You know by who you're working with what their tactics are. You probably already heard that. They're going to call you and ask for more money. So why are you trying to get me to beat a price that doesn't exist? I'm not going to do that, right? Well, this guy, again, very, very just not a pleasant man to work with, more or less. He hangs up the phone on me, okay? And I told my associate to text him. I said, I told him to say, sir, it's unfortunate that you wouldn't hear out the gentleman that you were speaking to, because he's trying to save you time and money, okay? And guys, on the second page, because again, he gave me the dealer's purchase order, everything in writing that he had that he was going to sign on. And on the second page, right above the options, it says, price is subject to change, in itty bitty tiny little writing. So I told Nick, I said, text this guy real quick and just tell him it's a shame that you wouldn't hear out my sales manager, because not only was he trying to save you time and money and show you that what you're about to sign off on is not what you're truly signing off on, and it is subject to change, but you wouldn't even hear him out, and all of the experience apparently, and that's all he was trying to do. I was going to beat that deal. I really was. I was going to beat it by $250 just to give him the opportunity to work with us, but I wanted him to know I don't have to do this, and I shouldn't be, because here's what I'm going up against, right? He wouldn't even hear me out, guys. And again, what I told him to tell Nick was, it's a shame, because it literally says in writing, price is subject to change. If you've been doing this for 25 years, again, why aren't you smart enough to see the words that are on the paper you sent me? He didn't even want to hear it. And again, hopefully he purchased from them, because the guy like that deserves to, see those hidden things of it. That way I could tell you I told you so. Who knows? Maybe he's watching this video. Hey, John. But long story short, how deceitful, I would never ask my customers to sign something that says your price is subject to change. We've never done that. One deal of the 28 plus years we've been in business. It's insane. So, but again, that's like, so Tim, that's the newest story there. Wow, geez. And I'm hearing crazy. Too much of stuff like this. I cannot believe my ears when it happens.
Yeah, that's sad.
And that's
Elizabeth was just saying, I bet they wouldn't be open to a written out the door price. So basically, you just kind of reiterated what she was saying. It's like, no, they're going to put it in fine print or something. But I mean, that's where you guys, now you're going to be smart enough to X that out and put your initials, but actually better yet, just walk away, because if they're doing that, it's like down the road, what's going to happen?
At the end of the day,
find a dealership that,
right? Yeah. I mean, it's still something you're signing on. So yeah, unfortunately there's not I agree to everything except this part. No, that's not how it works. You go down the road now, you go find another dealership to work with that's not playing those games. Do your research. I mean, it's not hard to, as a customer, especially in this day and age, like any camper you're buying, you could go on Facebook and find a group that is dedicated to owners of that product. Ask them where they bought it. Ask them what they paid. It doesn't do you any harm to do your research and to make sure that people are staying honest. Okay. And there's plenty out of our control. The guy that bought it a year ago, he didn't pay all the lumber and the steel increases that you guys are going to, right? But at the end of the day, still keep them honest. Make sure that you are, everything. And if you see something like that, for goodness sakes, walk away. Don't try and beat me up and try to give you the same deal that doesn't exist. Walk away. Be smart enough. Go find someone that's going to earn your business the correct way and isn't going to try and put the blinders over your eyes. So, but Tim, while you're getting us into the next segment here, I'm going to read through some comments and see what I missed. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Very good. Yeah. So, guys, we're going to come back to some questions once he gets caught up. But the one thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll pop up another slide here, is for the folks that are, many of you already said that this isn't your first RV. So one of the things that make mistake number 2 that people make is not getting the most for your trade-in. So this is an area like right now, as crazy as it is in the used market, it's like, does it really make sense to trade it in? Like, are you going to get your most if you trade it in with a dealership, or are you better off selling it outright? What are your thoughts on that, Josh? Outright, sell it outright, or
I'm telling
trade it in?
Every single person right now that asks me for a trade offer is, listen, I'm not afraid to give you an offer. At the end of the day, I am a wholesale dealer, so it will be probably less than what you're hoping for. But then again, I'm selling the camper significantly less than what you're finding elsewhere. So those two things go hand in hand. I give you a wholesale offer for the trade. I give you a wholesale price for the new one. So a lot of people think that, hey, give me the max for my trade and I'll pay as little as I can for yours. It doesn't work like that, right? So
yeah, it's a game that the dealers often a lot of times will play. You know, it's like, well, it's padded here, so I can make money here. So
exactly.
It's like,
well, and you know, so Tim, I had a customer one time. He didn't like my trade offer. I'm just going to tell you real quick, because kind of like what you just said, there can be a lot of tactics, a lot of deceitful ways to give you what you want out of your camper, but still not. Okay, so what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to round up numbers. This has been a year ago now, but I mean, the guy was like, you're giving me 40, but he's giving me 50, right? But I'm selling you the new one for 60, and he's asking 75. You see, it's the out the door numbers that you're looking at. It's not, and believe me, if you bought the same camper at 75,000 that I could sell you for 60, your interest rate's going to be through the roof. Your payment's going to be twice as high. I mean, seriously, what means more to you? What it says on paper or what it actually is, right? But they went back and they increased his trade number even more to where I couldn't compete with it. So they gave him an extra $5,000. So now he's got 55 on the trade, but he's paying 80 for the camper. How'd that work out, right? So, I mean, and
Josh isn't kidding. Like, you would be surprised. We didn't really talk about how pricing is set as far as what's the invoice price and all that kind of stuff. We didn't talk about that at all. But you're not kidding when you say there's like a $15,000 price difference on a $50,000 RV. I mean, it's even crazier than that. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to the sales guys and like, I can't believe it. They're charging this price for what we sell for this price. Or, I mean, it was just like unbelievable that some of these places are getting away with these numbers that are $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 more. And so, anyways, we're not. Just to clarify, like, we're not here trying to sell you guys on RV Wholesalers. The guys at RV Wholesalers, the owners, Mike and Dave, who we were talking about earlier, they came to me and said, hey, Tim, even though you're not on payroll here or anything, like, we just want you to help educate folks. Like, we obviously can't sell to all 600,000 people that are going to buy RVs. We can sell a little 5,000 piece of that or something, but let's help everybody so that no matter what state they're in, wherever they're at, they can be taken care of. So that's the motivation behind here. And I appreciate Josh taking time out of his busy schedule to help us get that figured out too. So.
Well, Tim, you're the guy that makes it all happen for us. So I appreciate you too. And just like what you said, I'm not using this time as my podium. I'm not saying look at what I do, but
yeah.
In my heart, I know what we do here is one of the more accurate and honest ways of doing business in this industry. And I hate being roped into that category of used car salesman. Like the gentleman yesterday, he says, I know all the used car salesman tricks. Well, if you did, then you probably shouldn't be signing off on something that says price is subject to change, because honestly, it sounds like he screwed over enough people in his life where he probably deserves that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's he made that bed. I don't care. But at the end of the day, it's to keep people from making that same mistake, right?
Yeah.
And because we don't even sell every product out there, right, Tim? I mean, there's some products.
Yeah. Even a Class B, for example, like you guys don't even have a Class B, and a lot of people on here probably want a Class B right now. Exactly. They're hard to find, or all that kind of stuff.
All dealers, I mean, they don't act the same, but we see a lot of these tactics happening, right? Did you go through them with the peace of mind fee from the guys up north there? Did you?
Oh no, I didn't bring that one up. That's a good one. I forgot about that.
well, since we're in the trade, I'll make it quick. But yeah, like, I mean, people in this industry, they charge, in this particular case, which we talked about last webinar, they charge $1,500 for a little 20-foot travel trailer, nothing special, charge them $1,500, and they called it a peace of mind fee, right? And I asked my customer, because he brought it up to my attention. He's like, Josh, what is this? You know, I seen your webinar. I'm not really like, this is a red flag to me. Should I be concerned? Oh yeah, because in that peace of mind fee, what it says is they're going to prep it, which you shouldn't be charged for. They're going to clean it, which you should not be charged for. They're going to give you a battery, which we do that here for free. Your propane, which we do that here for free. They're going to give you a starter kit, which we do that here for free. And last but not least, they're going to give you a power cord. And that right there is a smack in the mouth. Yeah, because the power cord comes from the factory, guys. So that's
part of the trailer.
Part of the camper. So they actually take that power cord out, rebox it with something with their label on it, and put it back in there. Cool. So that $1,500, that peace of mind fee, is really a piece of your pocket fee. They're trying to
piece of your pocket.
As much from you as possible.
I got to write that. I need to update our PDF with that.
Yes.
The piece of your pocket fee.
I couldn't believe that when I saw it. And again, like any stories I talk about, it's personal experiences that I've dealt with customers. I've been doing this a long time, but I've seen a lot of things in writing that literally blow my mind, and I can't believe people would sign off on. But at the end of it, guys, again, we're not here to tell you what we're, that, hey, come, you got to buy from us. But at least here's how you should be buying an RV. There's plenty of products that I do not have on my lot that I either would rather not do business with or just can't keep them in stock. We're not out here to get everybody, but to inform everyone. But yes, trade-ins, Tim. Back to that.
All right, I'll talk about those while you look at Richard and Shelley's questions. We'll come to those next. So,
yes,
yeah. So as Josh was saying, you're better off if you can do it. Just sell it on your own. Like, it's so easy right now. Just take 8 pictures, and you would not believe. You don't even have to spend a lot of time writing a good description. Just get it out there. Facebook Marketplace is a really good place to put that on. Another one is RV Trader. Pay a few bucks to do that. But yeah, those two are really good. Obviously, there's Craigslist, but a little iffy sometimes. But and don't be afraid. Like, people are going to come. I mean, they're coming multi-states, even for use. So don't list it just in your local area if you can spread it out through the state or something. But yeah, so that you'll be surprised. Like I was saying, that lady that just drove from all the way out west, 5-year-old Rockwood, she sold it for more than she paid for it. I mean, it's crazy right now. So the used, if you're thinking about buying used, probably not wise to buy used right now. I mean, not that we're trying to sell you on new, but the fact is you can get a brand new one with all the latest tech and everything, and the warranty, and not a lot of headaches compared to buying something used right now, because the prices are so up on the used. So
upside down.
Anyways, yeah. So anyways,
I think a lot of that comes from, I mean, these people that just want it today. They got to have it right now. They don't want to wait 12 weeks to get one built. They want it today. Well, guys, I mean, RVs are depreciating factors, for one. That's not going to hold their value like a house or most other assets that we can touch and feel and own, right? But here's what I'm hearing from customers, and at the first of this year, it was hard. Everyone's got to have it now. We got to have it now. I've been sold out for a year, but I'm one of the only dealers getting products like on the regular basis, But long story short, if you think in 2 or 3 years after you've made all the memories and gone all the places that you have and experienced everything you did, if you think that 3-month wait will mean anything to you, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect. I get it. You're bored. You want to go do stuff. But for the people spending $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 more to have it today, honestly, shame, because we're giving these price gouging dealers more money than what they deserve, and getting away with more than what they need to be. But again, you are going to, I'm going to be the bad guy when you come in and try and trade that thing in next year because it was too small.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to bite them when they go to trade it in afterwards. And Teresa just asked, she was on the RVWholesalers.com website. Do you not have any used RVs? Yeah, that's the problem, Teresa. It's like there's
We probably 5 to 7, maybe 8 trade-ins a week. They're gone before my IT guys even post them on the website. I have a list of 20 plus people that I know what they're looking for. I got them on that list, and the second it becomes available, I got at least 7 people to call, and it's gone before they can even put it on the website. So it is one of those things where you gotta act really quick, and that kind of puts me in a position, because I'm not like your typical pushy sales guy. I'm more of a consultant. I want to make sure that whatever you're buying is going to work for you. It's going to treat you well. It's going to last. It's going to meet the criteria, right? It's taken, and now I got to be a pushy salesman, because I'll be like, listen, if you don't buy it right now, I got other people that are going to do it.
It's like, yeah, right. I've heard that before, but no, it's really true.
It's really happening, and it sucks, because again, if I'm working with a guy for a couple weeks, and I mean the camper sells, he's not getting one for 12 or 14. It's a crazy time, but yeah, in no means are we trying to be pushy, but this is the reality. And again, like I tell everyone, I don't care when you're buying. I just want the opportunity. I know what makes me different. I know what we offer compared to most dealerships. I just want the opportunity. At the end of the day, is what it is, you know. But yeah, I was going through
Shelley's and Richard.
So yes, Richard, as far as staying here, so we have kind of dedicated, we used to have some pedestals and stuff set up with like power and water and things of that nature. We have since grew twice the size, since even last year. We've expanded onto our building. Now we do all of our walkthroughs in an enclosed facility that's, the floor is clean enough you could eat off of, right? So when we do these walkthroughs and these pickups, we have about 20 to 30 people picking up on a regular basis daily. So it makes it very difficult to use that space for an overnight spot. But the good news is we're just 5 minutes down the road from one of the nicest Ohio State Park campgrounds. So you wouldn't have to just be, you know, subject to sitting in my lot overnight with no resources or anything. You can go down there and actually camp. You can actually give this thing the shakedown process and have a yard to run around in, be able to have a fire. Like, if you're going to come the distance that most of our customers do, I want you to stay for a couple of days. Spend the weekend with us. That way, if you need anything adjusted, anything mentioned, we're right down the road for you. And we
because you guys are down about 45 minutes north west of Columbus, Ohio area on Indian Lake. I mean, right on the lake, pretty much. I mean,
most people know the area as Indian Lake. It's
So definitely do that. In fact, actually, it's funny because I'm going to be down there this weekend. The plan is to pour some concrete so we can start putting in those pads again for being able to do it on site. But yeah, it's a lot nicer to be actually at the real campgrounds, and there's tons of sites around that area. So
there has been talk about pouring the pads, and maybe that's what you're talking about, Tim, but there has been talk about pouring about 15 slabs with the water and the power. We just haven't got there. We're finally breaking weather right now, but here soon, hopefully by the end of this year, we will have another place available for those customers to stay. But temporarily, we're relying on the local campgrounds and state parks and stuff. But again, we want you to stay to make sure that everything's working.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Do that, and man, talk about saving money. Just even on transportation fees, not even taking into consideration you get to enjoy the country as you travel across. What about Richard's question? Let's see.
Oh, yes, that was Richard Green's first.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right.
Shelley, she was asking about the refrigerators. So, Shelley, when it comes to the refrigerators, the manufacturer only gives you 2 different sizes to choose from. In my experience, like a Rockwood, for example, you could do the 8 cubic foot gas and electric, or you could do the 11 cubic foot residential refrigerator. In some higher end fifth wheels, you might have an 18 cubic foot gas and electric and a 22 or 23 cubic foot residential. It all depends on the make and model that you are looking for, because that will determine what they can install in that RV. So at the end of the day, if you are basing, most of your criteria on a particular refrigerator, that will absolutely affect the rest of the criteria that you will or will not be able to, meet based on that floor plan. So really, I would use that as one of the later things to focus on. Get the floor plan that you and the husband are looking for, get whatever's going to work best for your family, and then talk about upgrades and stuff like that. They unfortunately only offer what they offer. We can't make like a special change or special request like that. But I'll put it this way. I'm all electric all the way. I'm sold on it. It's way more efficient than what gas was. It's cheaper. I can use my gas for cooking and heating now. I'm residential all the way, if that helps you in any way whatsoever. But it'll all depend on the camper you're looking for to determine what options we have. So,
yeah, that's good. Hey, we have something really big and really good for these folks, and it's this number 3 thing here. Well, it's actually our 4th one, but not understanding terms on RV financing. And then there's this one, not knowing the big dealer financing secret. Like, this is going to blow their minds, because it did that for me when I started to hear about this from you guys. I had no idea. And this is going to help you beyond just your RV shopping. So can you dive into this, Josh?
Yes, sir. So first and foremost, guys, financing, I tell everybody, you should be researching your financing just as much as you are on the camper, okay? Dealers do things different ways. And one of the things that you might misunderstand, let's talk about the terms, okay? A lot of people, they may only want to, how do I put this? Might just want to finance with your local institute. That's fine. I'm
like a credit union and stuff.
Credit union, maybe a bank that they have, other dealings with, their mortgage. That a lot of people find it's comfortable to just open an app and just see where you're at and be able to transfer that money easily. It's really convenience more and comfort more than it is anything else, right? So a lot of people will choose to do that. I'll get into the big secret in just a second here, but a lot of people, as far as not understanding the terms, that's not really so much of an issue per se, but when it does come up, it can be an uncomfortable conversation. So first and foremost, and I'm going to try not to give the big secret away just yet, but there is to compare an RV, a lot of people try to compare it with a car, okay? It's really more compared to a mortgage. That's the closest example that there is, and I'll explain. A car, a lot of moving components, all right? There's accidents every single day. Seriously, every day that you're driving, you're chancing getting into a wreck or something. To the bank, it is a risk to loan more years on a car because of all the moving components and the risk that you take on your daily commutes, okay? Again, anything could happen at any time. Your engine could blow up because of lack of maintenance. You could get in a wreck for not paying attention or again, whatever the case is. So the less you borrow on a vehicle, the better the interest rate, because it's less risk to the bank, okay? Complete opposite on the RV, okay? On the RV, 9 out of 10 times, an RV goes to a campground and it just sits for the rest of its time. Or while they're not transporting it back and forth, it's sitting in the driveway. It's unharmed. It's very safe there, right? So the banks say, I bet I could make a lot more money off these people if I give them a better interest rate for the longer term that they borrow. And since it's not going to just fall apart and there's not a whole bunch of moving components, and unless it got flooded or wrecked or a tree fell on it, as a bank, as a lender, I'm safe, right? I'm taking a lot less risk by loaning them. So I'm going to incentivize a longer period of time with a better interest rate, like a mortgage. That way I can get more money back from these customers, okay? So we set it up on the longest term. That gets you the best interest rate, okay? Some people that have talked to their credit union before, they're going to hear, and credit unions are kind of, again, I'll explain what I did. I think that'll make the best or the most sense. But credit unions will tell you the interest rate. They'll tell you, how long you borrow it for. They don't like to talk monthly payment until it's ready, until they have that deal in their hand, because it's probably going to be astronomical. If you're supposed to borrow, or if you could borrow up to 12 years, let's say that makes you a $200 monthly payment. Borrowing 8 years will probably be a $500 monthly payment. Some people can't swing that, or they don't want to. Or in my opinion, I would rather get the longer note, and I'll explain my algorithm in a second. I would rather take a longer note and then be able to pay more on the payments and have a better interest rate, because now everything extra goes. If I'm going to make a $500 payment, imagine half of that going directly to the principal and not getting a dime from it collected in interest, right? So here's the big secret. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's
do it.
Get your slide ready here.
All right.
So as an RV dealership, the bank is paying me more money than what I make off of you for selling you a camper, okay? Let me explain, okay? There's probably some people scratching their heads here. For those that don't know, and I'm not surprised that you don't, because this is something that no dealership wants you to know. Again, I'm making more money in financing you than what I am on selling you a camper. Isn't that crazy, Tim? So here's how that works. Let me paint you a picture. Here's what's going on behind the scenes. And this is not just RVs, guys. This is a car, a boat, a motorcycle, an airplane. I don't care what you're buying. If you're going to finance this purchase through the dealership that you are working with, they're writing the loans. They're doing all the work that the banks normally do. So then they send your business to a bank, and that bank says, hey, thank you. You just did my job for me. I'm going to give you a little piece of this pie, okay? And by a little piece of the pie, it's
good few $100s, like $300, $400 or what?
No, okay, let's put it this way.
I'm just kidding.
If I sold you a $100,000 camper, the bank is going to give me almost $10,000
oh, gosh.
In reserve.
Seriously? What do you call it? Reserve money or?
What, at the end of the day, you can call it whatever. Reserve money, kickback money. What it is, though, is it's my commission check. I did the work for them, right? The work that they were already going to do, I did that for them. So they're going to give that money to me because they didn't have to touch a finger. And now they have the opportunity on paper. If you, again, for any customer that did keep a loan open for, let's just say 12 years, if you looked at the amortization payment, they're going to make a killing from you. They really will, okay? But no one keeps their loan open for 12 years. They're either going to pay it off early to save all that money and interest, or they're going to sell it before that time comes, right? So same with the mortgage. Guys, if you think I wanted a 30-year note, you're crazy. I'm not even 30 years old yet, right? That I'm thinking like, really, I'm going to live here till I'm dead? No. I got the 30-year note to get the interest rate. I make a 15-year payment on my mortgage, you see? Half of that goes to the principal. I don't have to be collected. I'm not going to pay for the house 3 times. I'm going to pay for it 1.5 if I do decide to stay there that long. That's what we're doing with the RV. You're taking advantage of what we have in place here. But yes, long story short, what we have is the kickback money. We're giving that to you guys. All right. About 20 years ago, when we found out what this was, my father and uncle actually called Bank of America and said, I think there's been a mistake, okay? Because we already made all the money we needed to on the camper, but they're like, no, there's no mistake. You guys, you funded it. Everything's good. This is your piece. This is your commission check for doing our jobs for me. They're looking at each other and they're like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Like seriously, I mean, it was money that came to us that we don't even need. Imagine how many more campers we could sell if we give it to our customers and save.
Did you see Richard just wrote in here? I guess he's picking up his RV from you guys in May. He just said that he was given $6,500 off.
Yeah.
Because of, and so he's basically just saying like, they gave me that money. Like they gave me that money instead of the bank giving it to them and them just keeping it as profit. But that would have been an extra $6,500 you guys could have made.
That we would have made. Tim, my whole parking lot would be paved. I'd have multiple floors everywhere. If you think my showroom that we do the walkthroughs in now is great, I couldn't imagine the Taj Mahal that we could have built off of. I mean, so we did almost 5,000 sales last year. Let's just say on average, I got an extra 25 to 5,000 from those people. It's a lot of money. That's a ton of money, you know. So long story short, and then so Jenny just talked about paying cash. That's so there's 2 things I want to talk about just real quick here. First is how I bought my RV. Okay, so I currently own a toy hauler. Okay, the price after the financing discount was $46,000. Okay. Now, I wanted to borrow as long as I could to get the interest rate, but I also wanted to take advantage of this big check that the bank was giving the dealership, okay? So I did my 12 months through US Bank at a 5.9% interest rate, 12-year note, okay? My payment was about $300. Every payment I put $200 extra down, that way it goes to the principal. So a $500 a month payment, 12 years. I got a huge check back from Bank of America, and I only had to keep it open for 1 year, 12 months. That's it, okay? That's the only string attached to this. So what I did is I made that 12th payment and I refinanced with Honda Federal Credit Union, which is where I do all of my business. They own my house, they own my car, everything that I have goes through them because no one beats a 2.1% interest rate, and no one beats that. And so they gave me a 2.9, which wasn't hateful, but they only let me drag it out to 8 years. So my payment is now $500, which I was already making. I'm making a significantly less time frame payment, okay? But at the end of it, I win. They only got like $400 from me in the first year that I was financing through ES Bank. I saved $3,600, and now I get a 2.9 instead of a 5.9, and I'm making the same payment. You see what I did there? I'm playing the game, right? So kind of the same thing with cash buyers. You only have to make that loan for 12 months. So here's what my cash buyers do, Jenny. Let's say that you're buying a perfect world $20,000 trailer, okay? In a perfect world, your monthly payment would be $200 even, okay? So you only have to make 12 of those payments. So 200 times 12 is $2,400, right? So on that very first payment, what you do is you do the math of whatever 20,000, which is your balance due, minus 2,400, which is your minimum balance due for those 12 months, and whatever that happy medium number is, which should come $17,600, you put that on your very first payment. Okay, so what that's doing is that's delivering it all to the principal. Okay, so after all of that is said and done, what you do is it's paid off after that 12th month, but your interest rate is calculated on 2,400 instead of 20,000. I'll make that easy for you. At a 5% interest rate, $120, or I'm sorry, at a 5% interest rate on $2,400 is $120. That's what they got from you in interest. I just saved you $2,500 minimum. You see what I'm saying? What I'm doing is I'm robbing Peter and I'm paying Paul. And I don't want a single one of you to feel bad about the banks, because they're giving me this money whether I like it or not. I just keep your interest in mind. I want to give you the best price, the best interest rate, and the best payment. And that's how I'm doing it. We're taking the money from whichever bank's going to give me the best interest rate for your business. We're giving it to you. We're saving you thousands, and you pay it off after the year. It's genius. Why is no one else doing this? Because they want all that money. They want all of that money. Again, I'm sure plenty of you have been to other dealerships. Some of them are really, really nice, like really, really nice, like crazy nice. They didn't build that by selling campers cheaper than what they could have. They built that off of the thousands, and at this point, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they've made by getting every dollar out of your pocket. They don't tell you what the money that they're getting back from the bank is. They don't even want you to hear that. At the most, like I called a customer or a dealership in Pennsylvania one time, and I asked him, I was like, so how much this reserve money is mine? Oh, well, we give you $500 for that. I said, really? RV Wholesalers told me like $3,500 or something like that. Why? I mean, can you match that? Oh no, they just do that. I mean, you got to finance with them to get that price. You got, oh yeah, but the way that they explained it, I pay it off in a year. I'm saving way more money than you. I'm just curious, where's all of that extra money going to? You're using the same bank, but my interest rate's higher, and I'm only getting a fraction of what that money is. Why? Again, because I got to pave my parking lot, and I got to make sure my kids got braces, and I got to. It's the nonsense that separates the boys from the men. We don't need the money, but again, now imagine if I sold you one trailer and you got the best price you could find. We offer the best service. That's something we haven't even talked about with the service yet, but I don't know if we have time yet. But give you the best price, the best service. We take care of all your wishes, all your needs, everything. Not only before, during, but after the sale. You don't have a choice. You're going to send every friend, every family member, every person you care about to buy a camper from me, because the way we treated you, because how we do things differently. And that's, again, that's what separates us. But to make a long story short, that's the game. That's the big secret, if you will. It's happened with every dealership. I'm no more special than, so, but yes. Anyway.
So don't be afraid to ask, like, what is that? What part of that dealer reserve will be coming back to me, or that dealer commission, don't be afraid to ask for that when you're buying a car or your next RV. And man, that alone right there, thousands of dollars back in your pocket. That's good, Josh. Thanks, man, for sharing that.
Well, and if you saw Mr. Green's comment, the dealer asked me to leave if I only wanted to pay cash.
I know, right?
Crazy. I hear that stuff all the time.
Really? I had never.
My competitors, they try to hang me because you have to finance to get that deal. No, you don't.
Right? They say, "Oh, well, he'll make you finance." Well,
no, I'll give you the best deal I can, but it's to be understood. The money that I'm giving you for financing comes from someone else. It's very clear. If you don't finance with me, I don't get it. But here's the game. I just told you guys the whole game. But and kind of like what Elizabeth said, when you're playing the game, it's really fun to play because it saves a lot of money, right? I mean. It's almost like I'm coming up to you on the street and I'm saying, listen, if you give me $120, I'll give you $2,500, because that's, again, the math that I've just used on the 20,000 purchase, that's around what we would get. So I'm giving you $2,500 from the bank. They're making 120 of that in interest. Like, it's a no-brainer. It sounds crazy, but it is a no-brainer. But I would never ask you to leave if that's what you wanted to do, Richard. You're more than welcome to buy it any way you want to. My goal here is just to save you as much money. So I just ask, hey, can I just explain to you? You know, some people, they got more than that they know what to do with. They don't want to play the game, and that's fine. I'm still going to give you the best price you'll find on whichever game you decide to play. But yes, anyway,
that was good. We hit it's about 2:30ish, and I understand people may have to leave early. No worries. We're going to send you a replay with all this. You can watch it again and understand. We're going to keep talking, though, since we have you, Josh. If you're okay with a few more minutes, and I'll put your contact information up because we're not going to be able to get to all the questions. And then at the very end, I'm going to kind of answer Dennis's question, kind of step back, like, hey, if you're just starting, hey, let's take a little bit of time and explain the different types of RVs and kind of where you start, because some people will want to hear that. But we'll do that at the very end. And then if you can talk about service, I'll put up your contact information for questions. Talk just a little bit about service, because I know people are like, okay, so if I do buy it at a dealership, does it even make sense to buy not at my local dealership? Should I do that? That'd be the first question. And could you answer that? And then how do you guys, since you're getting trailers to people all over the country, like, how do you take care of that issue? Like, how do you take care of people? Like, that's what we want to know as a customer. Yeah, like, how do you service me if I'm in California and I buy an RV from you?
Sure.
How does that whole thing work?
Sure.
So I'm going to put up your information.
Yes, of course. So first and foremost, I'll go over the service part here, and then we'll get back to Dennis's question, because that's a little bit more in depth there. But guys, this is the only moment that I'm going to use this as my podium, if you will, because what I'm about to explain to you makes us who we are in the industry, because it's unheard of. We're the only people that are doing it. We're the first and the only, and I'll explain why that is, or why it hasn't been copied yet. Because honestly, everything we've done from point A to now has been copied. It's like gnats at a barbecue. You know, our name, for example, RV Wholesalers. There's a guy less than 3 hours away from me. I've never met him before, but he changed his name from something Sylvan something to RV Wholesalers 1, ONE. And I was just thinking, wow, that's real original. How'd you come up with that? You know, he sees all of our success. He sees we're starting to take off, and he says, I'm going to do the most easy thing that I can to copy them, and that's going to be to confuse people of that we're the same people. And believe it or not, according to the statistics, he's actually raised his sales from 300 a year to close to 900. So it's working. And what's not killing us, but was affected us and how we found out about this was his customers are posting bad reviews on my website. And we have to go through with the attorneys and everything and try to get these things resolved. And to make a long story short, we actually even commented on one. We said, ma'am, you're not our customer. You're not in the system. We don't even sell that product. I think you're talking about these guys. And we gave them the number to the general manager's line. That way it could be handled if they did decide to handle it. But we said, please remove your comment. You're talking to the wrong person. So, but again, everything we've done differently to make us who we are has been copied except this part here. So two things. And I want to make it very clear, I'm not trying to sell you on anything but myself, okay? Anything that I'm about to explain is not an additional cost to you. It's something that we give you for being our customer and our family member at this point. So Nationwide Service Network is the first one I'll touch base on. That is the ability to take care of you no matter where you live, camp, or travel. Now, to explain what we do, I have to explain why really fast. So, and I appreciate everyone staying with us here. I know I came late, and I apologize for that, and I appreciate y'all hanging out here with us. But for anyone this pertains to that are considering buying out a state for a much better price, make sure that they offer at least close to what I'm offering you here or explaining to you. So, first and foremost, there is no contractual obligation in the RV industry. Okay. Unlike a car, if you buy a brand new Ford, you could take that to any Ford dealership in the entire world and they have to fix it. They're obligated to do so. But unlike cars, in the RV industry, we don't have a Napa and we don't have a Advanced Auto and we don't have an O'Reilly's on every corner, right? All of our parts come from the manufacturer. And believe me, they're struggling enough as it is, right? So to try to make a long story short here, what we do is we see that it's a problem. Okay, the only person that is obligated to service your camper via the manufacturer is the person you bought it from. That can be scary. Okay, you may not want to buy this camper in Florida because it's $20,000 more. You may not want to buy it from me because I don't have it in stock or I don't sell that product. But if you are going to sell it or buy from, let's just say, one of my competitors in Ohio, again, that's fine. But they're the only people that are obligated to service you. And of course you're willing to drive up here to buy it and save thousands. You're not going to come up here to have them fix the air conditioner or the water heater or something silly, right? It's just logistically impossible and an irrational thing to expect. So you would have to rely on your local dealership. And I'll save you some time. Your local dealership's going to tell you, one, you didn't buy it from me. So you go to the back of the line and I'll get to you when I can. You might go 6-7 months without even getting it diagnosed, let alone waiting on parts. Seriously, that's not a joke. The national average last year was 13 weeks a camper set on a dealer's lot, and that's the average. That's crazy. That is insane. Okay, any day this trailer is not in your driveway is a day lost. And that's, again, very, very apparent. That's what you bought a camper for, to camp, not to sit it in someone else's driveway, blah, blah, blah. So that is the type of experience to expect. These dealers are petty. They're only doing this because you didn't pay $25,000 more for it there. You didn't give them that chance to screw you over. It sucks, but it is what it is. This is the truth of it. This is the hardest part of the whole industry, and it is a problem, and this is our solution to it. So instead of having to rely on another dealership that you didn't buy it from, okay, we have service centers set up all across the country, even in Canada. Over 2,800 service centers in the United States alone, that if you are living in this thing, camping in this thing, traveling in this thing, and you have an issue, you will call us and you tell us where you are, what the issue is, and those two things right there will determine who we will get you to or who we will get to you, okay? Now, I do want to be very clear. A lot of this does happen to be mobile technicians that are certified in a lot of different areas that are geared towards RVs, right? I mean, everyone needs their RV worked on, okay? So and I'm not saying this is a true statistic, but just on average, I would say there's 3 times more service centers in the industry than what there are a dealership. So not every service center I would send you would sell the product, therefore you don't have to worry about that. But a service center is key because they don't care where you bought it. They don't care how much money we saved you. A lot of times they don't even care what type of product it is, right? Forest River is going to have the same water heater as 70% of other trailers in the entire world. It's going to have the same air conditioner. It's going to have the same refrigerator. It's going to have, all these things. So if you're certified in one area, you can work on the rest of them. And again, they don't care. A service center all they're worried about is getting you in and out as quickly as they can, because that's how they get their money. Okay. So that's the nationwide service network. The RVW bill pay, which follows that suit, is that while you're in, okay, example, customer in Florida, his air conditioner went out. He had these reservations for 9 months, and one of his 3rd days while he was staying there for his 7-day stay, the air conditioner goes out. He called around like a lot of people, and he's trying to find someone to come out there. And then he finally calls me frustrated, and he says, dude, this is the 2nd time I've had it out. This is my 3rd day now. I don't have an air conditioner. My wife and kids are screaming at me. We're going to pack up and we're going to go home. What do we do? Well, you should have called me first, for one. I'm sorry that we've gotten to this point, but dude, I had someone there the next day. They brought a whole new air conditioner out. They swapped it out. They sent me the bill. All right. This gentleman was still under his 1st-year warranty, let alone the 2nd, which the air conditioner would have been covered under. You send me, I pay the bill. All right. I orchestrate who's coming to you. I'm gonna have him paid and taken care of, and he leaves. He sends me the bill to where I fight for my reimbursement. Again, so and to be clear, the nationwide service network, that does not stop as long as you are my customer, okay? And even if you're on your 1st RV or your 5th RV from me, it does not stop, okay? That is always yours to access, because if you're traveling and you need taken care of, I'm probably going to be one of the only people in this industry that doesn't use a dealer locator, okay? Everything I'm referring to is all handmade that we've done over the years of being in business and helping people out. Every other dealership will tell you, to kind of go back to how there's no contractual obligation, every other dealer that doesn't want to take time and explain these things are going to tell you, hey, good news, you bought a Rockwood. Every dealer that sells Rockwoods is going to take care of you. No, they won't. Promise. Swear to God, hand on the Bible, they won't. If you didn't buy it from them, you go to the back of the line. Unless they're just not.
And the line's pretty long a lot of times, 13
What's
weeks. Oh, I said the lines are long, like 13 weeks. A lot of times at some of these.
That was the average.
That was the average, yeah.
That was the average for it to sit there. So there's a lot of factors, like, maybe it took them a long time to diagnose it. Maybe it took them a long time to get parts. I don't know. All I'm saying is we don't even let you drop your camper off unless you cannot use it to camp. Because again, any day that thing's not in your driveway, you wasted a day, or you wasted a month of payment, basically. Because why else do you have a camper, right? I mean, we don't want people to just drop it off. We bring it in, check it out, order the parts, diagnose it, do what we got to do. Take it home though. Go back to doing what you were doing. We'll call you when your parts get in, then we can talk about it. And then all the other little things that happen in between there, we can fix those too, right? I mean, but yes, no contractual obligation. Any other salesman will just tell you, whatever product you buy, you take it to any one of those dealerships. I promise you, I'll bet you my paycheck, it doesn't exist. Not in this industry. People are way too petty, too many games. It sucks, it really does, but it's not anything like the other industries that we know and are familiar with. So at the end of the day, again, I'm not trying to sell you anything. These two things that we offer, everyone's copied every other thing we've done, literally, even the name. Why haven't they copied this? Well, I'll give you the answer. Once that money is in their pocket, they want to hold on to it really tight. Okay, the things we do to take care of people and to keep them coming back to us. There's no loyalty in the RV industry, but there is with us. I've heard a lot of people tell me, I've never bought 2 cars off the same salesman. That's right, because their owners look at them like they're a number, right? If you can't meet your quota, you're gone. We're a family here, and we treat you like that as well. When it comes time to putting my money where my mouth is, we do that. And it's not just me that's sitting here taking calls and filtering everything out. We pay 7 ladies annually salary to do exactly the process that I have just described to you. And without them, we would not be where we are. We wouldn't expect anybody to come back and buy from us. We just wouldn't, because for what they do on a daily basis, I would have lost my hair 10 years ago. You know what I mean? But yes, long story short, that's the biggest, if anything, I think that's one of the most important things in the RV industry, Tim, is the idea to get taken care of after the sale. So
so that was our number 5. Richard asked what number 1 and number 2 are. I'm going to pop those on the screen. Those are that stay to the end, though. I've got a little surprise coming up that we're going to offer. Hopefully you're okay with us doing this, but it's kind of a nice little treat for these people that hung out with us. So number 1 was Richard asked, not asking for the out-the-door price. So we talked about hidden fees, and those were the hidden fees. There's a download for you guys. Download that, has hidden fees. Number 2 was not getting the most for your trade-in. That's where we talked about just listing it yourself instead of trading it in. You're going to get more money that way right now. And good stuff. And then question Robin we missed. She was asking about full timing in a fifth wheel. Like if you had a recommendation, like for something that you think would be a good fifth wheel brand that can hold up to full timing. But number 1 tip is don't when you start shopping and you start getting finance paperwork and stuff, don't let them know that you're shopping for full-time living, because, well, one, they won't really finance you probably, and insurance, they won't really insure it. And, you just have to that's your little secret, I guess.
That's what I tell people anyway. Listen, what you do with it is up to you. Don't let them find out about it, all right? And I've seen a lot more now than I ever have.
Really? I was wondering about that.
And, get into a camper, it's a little bit cheaper way of living. But, yeah, if you can't prove utility bills and stuff like that, it's hard to even get the approval, because they know what your intentions are, and they don't want that to happen. That can be saved for a later time there. We can explain that. But, yeah, if you're going to live in it, really depends on a lot of things, your personal preferences, your budgets you have in mind, or monthly payment, whatever that looks like. But if you would like to give us a call, one of us, anyone would be more than happy to help you get something narrowed down. But it seems like you're in the preliminary stages, and we can definitely work with you there. And then there was one.
Richard, we'll see you soon. He said he has to leave, but he's coming in May to pick up. So thanks, Richard. That's cool that you're still wanting to learn even after you've already got a good deal. So thanks.
And then there was one more gentleman, Dennis. So if we've never owned an RV or been in an RV, how do you figure out which one to buy? Motorhome, trailer, etc. So that really comes down to a lot of your personal preference, guys. So first and foremost, how do I want to say this? How you plan on using it, right? I mean, for example, I like to have the way that I camp, or if I were to, get into the market, I'm going to know what my intentions are. If I'm going to a full hookup site in state parks, if I want to go to different state parks, if I'm going to have a permanent site in a campgrounds that's up the road from me or a couple hours where it's just going to stay in park, if I'm going to Florida once a month, or if I'm going around the whole country. A lot of different uses and a lot of different walks of life for buying RVs. So first, find out how you plan on using it. Okay. Comfort levels has a lot to do with that. Backing up, maneuvering. If you're just going to keep it on a campsite, I recommend you go as crazy as you want to, because as soon as it's set, it's there, right? So you may have to pay a little bit more for somebody to move it for you when and if that time comes, but that's just all part of the game. A fifth wheel will tow easier because some of that weight is in the bed. So again, if you were going to be going to state parks and going around, or going to Florida once a year and staying there for a couple months, again, however you plan on using it, start to get those things narrowed down. Start to get a game plan. And those things, at the very least, would help a salesperson direct you or point you in that right direction.
Yeah, another question you'll ask a lot of times, right, is if you have a tow vehicle, a truck, or whatever it is, how much will it tow? And you kind of start with that number. In fact, if you go to towingcalculator.org, I just put this together. You guys can test it out. And it'll tell you, oh, hey, I can tow 5,000 pounds. Well, now I have to get a trailer that's in that range if you already have your tow truck. Or you can figure out, I want this trailer, what kind of trucks, can pull it. So, yeah.
And there's, again, like maybe motorhome. Maybe you don't, again, like how I use my camper. If I'm going to go somewhere, I need a truck to be hooked up to it, because if I need to run into town, that's going to be a lot easier. I can just unhook after I've gotten everything set up. I can run into town, get my belongings, and then come back. Makes life a lot easier, right? But again, I see a lot of people in older age, snowbirds I call them. They don't want to haul a 40-foot camper to Florida. They want to hop in something and drive. Cool. It really all depends on your intentions, how you plan on using it. And Tim made a great point there on the towing vehicle. If you don't have one yet, don't be afraid to find something and settle for it, because that's all your truck can pull. Maybe we find you the camper that you're looking for, and we can talk about upgrading the truck. It all depends on what you're looking to spend, your intentions. There's so many factors, but again, any of us, Dennis, would be more than happy to help you out and go through those things. And reach out.
I'll put Josh, I'm going to put your contact information out. So here's a special thing. I was going to anybody that stuck with us to the end, if you take a picture of this screen with Josh's contact information on it with your phone, and that way we know you watched to the end. And this is our way of knowing. But take a picture of this and email this to Josh, and then the first 3 of these that come into Josh today, that come into his email, jdurnell@rvwholesalers.com. When he sees these 3, he'll know, like, hey, these people stuck with us. They're smart. They're loving to learn this stuff. They don't want to be ripped off. I'm going to help them by giving them $500 credit towards their delivery, if you're okay with that.
Oh, okay. All right. We can do that.
Can you do that?
That's awesome.
Or I guess if they're in Ohio and they get free delivery, then you could just give them a little extra off the price there.
Camper or something. Okay. All right. That's very, cool. Very generous of you, sir. Hey, when the whole rest of the world is price gouging, we're here slashing numbers and giving deals, right? It's good.
I'll probably lose my job, but
well, hey, at least you're not on the payroll, right?
Exactly.
It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. I think we're okay.
That's how I get away with this stuff. That's awesome. Hey, thank you guys. In the chat, before you leave, just tell us what your dream of RVing is. Like, hey, I want to take an RV and go to Yosemite, or go to this park, or go see this, or take my grandkids and do this. And, like, whatever it is that you're excited to go RVing, we're excited for you. Thank you guys for taking time to, just learn and figure this stuff out. I'm proud of you. So,
and I'm going to reach out to Christine personally. I don't know what the situation is. I know we're running out of time here. So Christine, I'm going to give you a call here and figure out what's going on. I know that
I think this she said in Vermont. So I think this is she's talking about a different dealership. Yeah, so I don't think she's just saying like this is frustrating because this is what's happening out there.
Yeah,
like, she's not saying RV wholesalers. So
that's fine. I was wondering what the VT stand for. Now that makes total sense. Okay, well in that case, I'm sorry about dealing with that there. I can tell you, like as a salesperson, I don't get to see offline dates or VIN numbers or anything like that. It's all done in another department, if you will, but it's still no excuse not to take your phone calls and things. So I'm sorry you're dealing with that, dear, and I hope you get it taken care of, okay?
Hey, Mark has a really good question. We didn't have time to talk about it, but anybody that keeps hanging in here with us, nobody pays MSRP, Mark Strong. How do you know what a new trailer's worth? MSRP, that's interesting because, yeah, it's way less than MSRP is what the invoice. But yeah, that's the thing. There's
it'll all be. I actually have a calculator. Even if I build up a camper with you, like a new camper that's not even on my lot, it tells me MSRP and what my price is. I will happily get that for you as long as it's a camper that we sell. Of course, I'll happily get that to you. Not every dealer will because they don't want you to know what it is. You see, I mean, it's again, it's the hardest time
significantly
right now.
like. I mean, the difference between these MSRPs is like what? I mean, 30, 40%. I mean, it's huge difference.
The average is, but Tim, there's dealerships right now, just because they have it on the lot, they're asking MSRP or more. I told you the story. I paid MSRP on my boat, right?
No.
I don't even, yeah. As a person that's been in this industry for as long as I have, I tried to beat them up as much as I could. And there was no, again, I'm not trying to compare the two industries, but you know, that dealer only gets 30 boats to sell a year. He didn't come off the price even $1. And I had to pay freight and I had to pay prep. And I was like, you're kidding me. This is what I preach people not to do.
What about the environmental fee? Did you pay the environmental fee?
I didn't pay the environmental fee. No, that wasn't on there. But I was literally, I mean, again, I'm not trying to compare two different industries. And with boats, you do have to put a lot of things together that we don't have to on RVs. But at the same time, I was like, you know, I'm paying MSRP for this freaking boat. Are you kidding me? Like but no one wants you to know what that is in the RV industry. Again, I'll happily give that to you. If you're interested, just reach out to me. We'll get you taken care of. But thank you, everybody.
You should call Christine. She probably, you might be able to save her more money to make it worth her giving up a deposit.
Well, so. I was going to say, Christine, if you're willing to, if you let me see the deal and just see where they got you at and everything,